Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. I recently attended the funeral of a good friend who died with Alzheimer's disease. And as I sat there and listened to his wife and others talk about his life and the impact that he had, one of the things that stood out to me is how hard he worked throughout his entire life to really focus on people and to make a difference for everybody that he was with. So many people shared the fact that when you were with this man, you felt like you had his complete and full, undivided attention, and that he loved you for whoever you were in that moment, that he accepted you as you were, and he did everything that he could to be helpful. A phrase that came out a lot in this funeral was that he gave his heart to people. Now, I mention this because I learned two things sitting there at the funeral and thinking about his life and the impact that he had. The first lesson comes from a story that his wife shared, which occurred late in his life when he was living with pretty significant dementia, and there were many things that he couldn't do, although he was still very mobile. He was a physically robust man. And his wife talked about being out on a walk with him, and it seemed like everybody that they passed, he acknowledged. He didn't know who they were, but he would smile. And to one person working in the yard, he'd say, "You're doing a great job." And to one cleaning out the gutters, he'd say, "Keep it up, you're almost there." And he would smile at other people and say, "You look great." And it was an impressive thing to me to listen to the fact that this man who had lost so much in his functional capacity was still true to the one personality trait that was most dominant in his life. It was as if he had developed that trait so fully that when everything else was gone, that was what remained. It caused me to really think more about what I'm striving to become. And if all was stripped away except for one major personality trait, what would that one thing be? What would I want to be known for? What am I working hard to develop in my life so that if everything else was gone, that would be the most important thing and it would be remaining? I think that's something that all of us can consider. And I think we could be better if we do consider that and act on whatever ideas come to mind. The other thing that stood out that I think is a lesson for all of us, and the reason I wanted to share this on the Caregiver Minute, is that this friend's life was a reminder that even with a terrible neurodegenerative condition like Alzheimer's disease, you can still experience great joy and you can make a difference in other people's lives. So often we see people as their symptoms, or we see people as a collection of things they can no longer do. And yet there's often a lot that they can do. And fundamentally, they're still people. And people are amazing. And people are capable of great things, even when they're not capable of everything they used to be able to do. This friend was able to make an impact in others' lives. And part of it was because his wife kept him active and took him out and went on a walk with him. And he had an opportunity to be with people and to encourage them. So what are you and I doing when it comes to the people that we're serving to figure out what their dominant personality trait is? What's the best thing about that person? What is the thing that if you were to attend their funeral later on, everybody would talk about as the thing that really stands out about that person? If we can get clear on what that is for each individual that we serve and leverage that by creating opportunities for the people that we're serving to continue expressing that dominant personality trait, then I think we'll make an even bigger difference for people. So today I invite you to consider what is the most important personality trait for you, and what are you doing to develop that, so that if everything else was stripped away, that it would still remain. And when it comes to the people that you're serving, what do you know about their most important personality traits? What do you know that people might talk about at their funeral? That if you knew it now, you could help them have even more opportunities to continue expressing that part of themselves. I hope that makes a difference for you and the people you serve, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.